Welcome. Welcome back, Mr. Sabali.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
I hope you have had lunch and that you are rested enough to proceed with the afternoon session.
I do.
Good. Before the lunch break, we were talking about the events at the Gambia Police Force after you stormed the place and have Mr. Chongan, the AIG operations at the time, arrested. You indicate that he was arrested together with Mr. Sonko, Captain Sonko. I have a follow-up question with that. The evidence we receive is that Sonko was not there at the time of Chongan's arrest. He was arrested on the Monday together with Pasala Jain. So is it possible that you are mistaken, or you still hold firmly to the view that Chongan was arrested together with Sonko?
They were arrested together because I sent Sonko to go to the police headquarters. So I cannot mistake Sonko with any other person, please.
Yes. Yeah, the reason for that is you went to the police. The evidence we have is that you went to the police station on 2 occasions. You went there first on the Friday, soon after Sonko arrived there, and that is when you went into Chongan's office. The evidence also suggests that you went there again on the Monday. That was when Chongan was arrested. But at the second time, Sonko was not there. What is your view about this?
On the Friday, I didn't get into Chongan's office. In fact, I didn't know where his office was. But on the Monday.
Okay. Do you agree that possibly you may have been misled, that whatever was happening at Chongan's office on that Monday was in fact a coup d'etat or a plan to make a counter coup? Is it just possible that you may have been misled?
That cannot be a mistake. As I said, I trusted the lady, the police officer who told me, by virtue of her position in the police force, I know she would not lie to me.
But don't you think it would have been foolish of anybody to try to organize a counter coup at that stage when your coup has already succeeded and your security is still in place? Wouldn't it have been foolish to attempt to coup d'etat at that time?
No, it couldn't have been foolish, because a coup comes always with counter coups or possibilities of staging counter coups.
Yes, but wouldn't it have been foolish to attempt to stage a counter coup at that particular stage when the police have been disarmed? They had nothing. The TSG has already surrendered to the army. What force would Mr. Chongan use to conduct a counter coup?
That I think Chongan himself could explain that, but from my side, on the security aspect, I was there not to take any chances.
Yes, we have received evidence from Mr. Chongan, and he said he was vehemently against coup d'etats, and that is why he resisted the coup d'etat on Friday.
Okay.
But by Monday, he understood that the coup had succeeded, so he went to work like everybody else. What is your take on that?
He didn't go to work on his own will. We announced that everybody should report to work as normal.
Yes, and then he went to work as normal. So, I mean, wouldn't it really be a bit of a stretch for anyone to suggest that at that stage they were in fact, or he was in fact, organizing a counter coup?
For me, in as much as he had said he has been on the forefront against the coup from day one, for me that's a clear indication he could take any chances to make a counter coup.
He could take any chance to make a counter coup.
Right.
But that does not necessarily translate into that he was in fact staging a counter coup. Because could and in fact are different.
Yeah, could be or was are two different things, but under the circumstances, I would guarantee that it was.
That was your belief, right?
Right.
And will you agree that your belief may have been mistaken?
Of course, I'm a human being.
All right, thank you very much. So let us proceed.
Okay.
You became vice chairman
Okay.
on the day of the coup.
Right.
And as vice chairman, where did you live?
I live at the time at Fajara residence near, I think, Fajara Hotel, I think, if I'm right.
We do understand, or we have received evidence suggesting that your convoy had been attacking users or other users of the road who were perceived to be obstructing your convoy. What do you say to that?
I agree.
I would give you, we have a list of about 8 incidents.
Okay.
We want you to comment on them if you can, but
Okay.
just allow me a single moment. Let me consult with my colleagues on an issue.
Okay.
Yes. Sorry about that. We had to consult and organize ourselves. So you accept that your convoy had been attacking civilians who were perceived to be obstructing the convoy.
Right. Correct.
I would indicate a few of those incidents and let you comment on them if you can,
Okay.
as far as you can remember. But perhaps before then, I would just allow you to discuss the ones you can remember.
Okay.
Tell us about them.
On the day of my child's christening, this was on the 25th of January, 1995. After closing work at 4, I went to Fajara residence. Changing into civilian clothes, I went to Brikama, where the christening took place. Late in the evening, probably 9:21 or 2200 hours, we were heading back to Fajara residence. On our way, all the way to between Lamen, where this culvert is, and the abattoir, we were going on the right-hand side, of course, and all of a sudden, a vehicle coming headlong on us swerved right into the middle between the lead vehicle and my official vehicle. And my driver had to act quickly to swerve to the left-hand side, out of the road completely, and he made a sudden brake. The lead vehicle also made a sudden brake, likewise the rear vehicle. They all turned towards our vehicle. Because this is the security aspect, they were bodyguards. And they knew exactly what they were going to do, or under the circumstances, what could go wrong. They all came and made a perimeter security around my vehicle. And the vehicle that came onto us barely stopped and sped up again towards Lamen. The lead vehicle, which was already heading towards Lamen, had to pursue this vehicle. And in the security setup, they couldn't have left me there alone. The bodyguards advised we go together, and that's the normal way to do things. We went right inside Lamen. Already the lead vehicle had gotten up this man, they apprehended him. We took him to Banjul police station. And the next day, which was on the 26th, he was arraigned before the Carnifing court, where after I learned, he was sentenced to, okay, he was charged, and then convicted for, or fined for, I don't know how much exactly right now, but later on.
$1,000, would that
it could be, I cannot remember right now exactly, but what I think I could remember, his license was confiscated for 6 months or so.
Was he beaten?
I cannot say exactly whether he was beaten, but of course, it could have happened.
Could have, would have, did it happen?
Hey, okay, when I say did happen, that it means I saw it, but I'm not here to deny that it had happened. The fact that he was arrested, anything could have happened to him there.
The evidence is that
Okay.
at the point of his arrest,
Okay.
he was mercilessly beaten by your security detail.
Okay. It's possible.
Do you accept that he was beaten?
I can accept that.
If the person were to be here, would you apologize to him for what had happened?
I will.
You accept that beating him under those circumstances was absolutely wrong?
It was absolutely wrong.
Thank you very much, Mr. Sabali. The documents we have before us indicate that that person is Mr. Abdullahi Tekanyi.
Yeah, I could remember this person was working with the Gambia Civil Aviation, I think.
And
authority.
that would be Mr. Abdullahi Tekanyi.
I think, yeah, I think I
yes.
remember the name now.
So perhaps maybe you would be willing to participate in some reconciliation meetings, would you not?
I will.
All right.
Wholeheartedly.
So the chairman of the reconciliation committee would consider organizing some reconciliation activities in which you can participate. But thank you very much for your willingness to participate in this. Like I keep reiterating, this is the whole essence of the TRRC. We come here, speak the truth, recognize our mistakes, own up to them, ask for forgiveness, and then we reconcile one another as brothers and sisters and as Gambians, and then try to forge a better future for this country. Thank you very much for that.
Thank you.
I would take you to some other incidents.
Okay.
But for now, proceed with the ones you can remember.
And another one was, this didn't come to the attention of the public. I don't know why, but this was near the road that goes to, opposite Ahmadiyya Hospital. On the other side, you have the road that leads, or the street that leads to Nusrat High School. Sort of a bus stop was there. We are going to Yundum Barracks, and again, a similar issue happened when a taxi driver swerved and came right in between my vehicle, official vehicle, and the lead vehicle. And here, sorry, it came right in front of the lead vehicle, and then he swerved towards the left-hand side. He left the road totally. The vehicle was on control. He went right across the other road, to hit the fence, the cement fence on the other side of the road by Ahmadiyya Hospital. And that's where Corporal Albert Gomez sustained heavy injuries. And I think he couldn't come out of those injuries in later years to come.
How did he sustain injuries?
This was an accident because their vehicle somersaulted. It hit the concrete wall and somersaulted.
Wasn't that November 11?
No. This was well before that, I think, if I'm right. I can't remember the date exactly.
Okay. We would come to November 11th afterwards.
Okay.
Did anything happen to the driver of the vehicle that drove into your convoy?
The driver ran away. We were busy getting Albert to the hospital immediately.
Was the driver caught eventually?
I think he would have been caught and taken to Banilin police station, if my memory serves me right.
Was he beaten?
No. That one was not.
Not
in my presence, sorry.
Wasn't the beating part of the instructions you gave your orderlies?
I never gave instructions to orderlies. As I said, security bodyguards, they knew exactly what they have to do. This has to do with security of the person you are securing.
And knowing exactly what they have to do entailed having to beat up the person who would be arrested in such instances.
Actually, beatings will have been part of it. Here we are talking about standard operational procedures, SOPs, but I can bet you up till today, I don't think the Army has any SOPs for bodyguards of that nature.
But that does not take away from the fact that beating such individuals was illegal, it was unlawful.
It was.
Yet they continued to do so while they served you. They continued to beat people who were arrested as obstructing the convoy.
Correct.
Do you recall a person called Dr. Sabali?
Yes, from the MRC.
What happened to him?
Actually, this was near Cooperative KMC. We're heading to Banyon. I think it would have been in the morning. And then he also came right in front between the lead vehicle and my official vehicle. And then his vehicle tire was shot. And then, yeah.
Do you recall a person called John Jai, whose car tire was shot whilst traveling around the Latir Kunda Road?
John Jai, what exactly was the incident?
He used to work for Caritas at the time?
It could have happened, but I cannot remember exactly the incident.
Do you remember a person called Fasise?
Fasise from not behind
Mandinari?
Mandinaring, correct.
Yes, could you tell us about that?
Okay, this was a particular day. We closed from work. We are coming all the way to Serakunda. And then Yaya Jammeh called and said somebody was at Serakunda at the telephone booth at the Gamtel there. And this particular person was calling and insulting the council members. And I should go and look who exactly this person was. So we drove past Westfield Johnson. We drove straight to this Gamtel. When we arrived there, we find a particular man in the telephone booth. We alighted. They asked him his name, and he said he's Fasise, I think, Sise. And then we arrested him, took him to Serakunda police station. Later,
And what was his crime?
he was called, Jammeh said he was calling him and insulting that he must see the council members.
And that is reason for arrest?
Yeah,
What was the crime?
that's what I'm saying. Yaya called me and said this particular person was calling from a telephone booth at Gamtel, Serakunda, asking that I should get him and send him to his place, that's at the state house. When we got him arrested, I took him to the Serakunda police station.
Yes, but you still have not answered my question.
Okay.
Here is the head of state.
Right,
He ordered you to go and arrest somebody.
right,
You can only arrest a person if the person has committed a crime.
okay.
What was the person's crime?
This was an order.
So you accept the order, legal or illegal?
Okay, it was illegal.
Good.
In as much as I don't know the crime he has committed, as much as you were saying,
So you executed an illegal order and arrested this person, correct?
right, correct.
Okay, tell us where you took the person,
I took him to the Serakunda police station,
and then what happened?
and later I learned Jammeh called there, because I called him, I said he's at the Serakunda police station. Then Jammeh said they should transfer him to the state house, and they took him to the state house.
We have received evidence from your orderlies that you, Sanabairo Sabali, ordered them to go to Serakunda police station, bring out the person to your own residence, and he was dealt with mercilessly, and thereafter transferred to the NIA. What do you say to that?
No.
So your orderlies are lying.
In this situation, yes, I would say so. If I had done that, I would not hesitate to say I am wrong.
They have given that statement to the NIA
Okay.
in January 1995 when they were arrested. They have also testified to that before this particular commission.
Okay. Can I come in quickly?
Please do.
All these questions, especially this Fasis's case, was brought before the court martial, in my court martial, to be exact, and it was thrown out of court.
But did your orderlies testify against you at the court martial?
No, nobody was allowed to come there.
Exactly. So here, what we have is people who claim to have been the actual officers that you used to assault this person. You still say, you still deny that?
If they said so, like they said, Ki Fasipa se Fasipa Alium, he who does something to another person does it himself. I take full responsibility of the situation.
If Fasise were to be around, would you apologize to him?
I will wholeheartedly do that.
Wonderful. You recall, let me give you a newspaper to take a look at. Let me
Okay.
Thank you. We have an Observer, Daily Observer paper here. We have the original. If you want to see the original, we would provide it. But it's a bit fragile, so we're using the photocopy.
Okay.
Please take it to the witness, please. In the meantime, hold a second. Pass it to the commissioners. Quickly, and then we pass it on to the witness. It is the headline. It is an article dealing with a woman who was shot by members of your convoy. And in this article, the woman was demanding $1 million compensation.
Okay.
You would see the newspaper article. The woman's name is called Halo Ba. She was shot at the Birkama Serekunda Highway on 27th of January 1995. Do you recall it at Latrikunda Savaji? Do you recall that incident?
What is the date again, please?
I'm not sure whether the date is correct, but the date I have here is 27th January 1995.
That they found me in mile 2.
Yes, I know that's why I say the date that I have here would have found you at mile 2. But the date is not necessarily accurate. Perhaps that is the date on which the claim is made. Because the thing is, the lady would not have made a claim at the time you were at liberty and working as vice chairman of the AFPRC. Everybody was so terrified, they wouldn't even complain. They wouldn't go to the police. But the question is, do you remember your orderlies shooting a woman at Latrikunda Sabiji?
Never. Never.
She was selling potatoes.
As I said, on this particular day.
We're not talking about the date yet. We're talking about the incident of this woman who was selling potatoes at Latrikunda Sabiji, and she was shot at by your convoy. I think this incident was in fact common knowledge in the country at the time. The news of it gained currency during that time.
I don't think this had happened because I was not aware. I've never seen this newspaper, and every day I had all the newspapers on my table.
It is alleged that the bullet hit her arm. Her right arm. You can't remember that?
No, I can't remember this incident. Honestly, I can't remember this incident.
You may not.
Yeah. However, if my guards would stand and say, yeah, they did it, yeah, I will confirm it then.
I can assure you that your guards,
okay,
if my recollection is correct.
Okay.
But may I see the paper? Could you send it to me, please? Just look at the headline and send me back the paper quickly.
Yeah, but the headline could mean different things. As I said, for me, this just come from the air.
The paper that we have here reads as follows. 18-year-old Mrs. Halo or Olo Ba, a lactating mother, is claiming a compensation of $1 million for trespass on her person, injuries, pain, shock, and distress caused to her on the Saturday, the 27th of January 1995, as a result of gunshots fired by soldiers who were members of the convoy or escort of former vice chairman of the AFPRC, Sanabi Sabali.
Okay.
Aloba, who called yesterday to the point offices accompanied by her uncle Amadou Sow, disclosed that she was selling potatoes at the open-air Latrikunda Sabiji market by the Serekunda Birkama Highway when a bullet fired at a vehicle by members of the escort of of ex-Vice Chairman Sabali hit her and was lodged in the soft tissue of her right arm. That is the newspaper, and it is a Point newspaper article dated 30 March 1995.
Along these lines, I would say that the only time we went to Brikama was on this 25th of January from the christening of my son. And since then, we never went there until my arrest.
There may have been a mistake on the date.
No,
but on that day, when that taxi, because you explained this story, when this taxi caught into your convoy and the driver had to run away.
Right.
That was the day before your arrest, wasn't it? And that would have been on the 25th of January 1995, wouldn't it?
No. On 25th of January, I said I went to work. I went to Brikama around 6 p.m.
Yes.
Right.
What was the date of your christening?
On the 25th of January 1995.
Yes, and on your way from the christening to Fajara, that was when this taxi caught into your convoy, correct?
No, these are 2 different days, completely. 2 different days.
On which day?
When this taxi crossed into between the official vehicle and the lead vehicle, this was, we were heading towards Brikama, and it was in the morning, not in the night.
Okay, I thought you explained that on your way back, that incident happened. But whatever date is happened, this newspaper is suggesting that it was 27th. And there may be a mistake in the date. Do you deny that this incident happened?
I cannot remember exactly this incident happening.
But isn't it the case, Mr. Sabali, that members of your convoy were just hitting at people, either beating them or shooting at their vehicles as a matter of routine whenever they thought your convoy was obstructed?
No, that cannot be correct. Sorry.
What is correct? Tell us the true position.
It only happened when an incident takes place.
Yes, this is what I'm driving at.
Right.
Whenever they perceived an obstruction to your convoy, they would take action by either shooting at the vehicle, or if the person is apprehended, they would deal with the person by beating the person up.
I don't agree with the word passive there. I would use a different word.
Yes, please, by all means, tell us.
That means a situation had happened, like a vehicle coming right in front of the official vehicle and the lead vehicle, for example. And there, the bodyguards will take security measures, irrespective of who the person is or where, what happened. They will take measures.
And those security measures entailed shooting at the vehicle. If the driver is apprehended, the driver is beaten.
Yes, because here we are talking about bodyguards. The person they are guarding, it is their right, it's their duty to make sure that that person's body is secured.
At all costs?
At all costs, of course.
Including after apprehending the so-called culprit, they mete out their own justice to that person by beating the person up.
That is totally wrong. That should not happen.
Okay, this, we agree on that. This Aloba claimed that it was your convoy, or your orderlies, who fired the shot at this vehicle, and she was injured as a result. What do you say to that? Do you still deny that?
I totally disagree with this situation. I can clearly tell you, if it had happened, I would not sit here to try to deny it. No, I will own up to my responsibility.
Perhaps you did not know about it.
It's a possibility. But I don't think my guards will go with the official vehicle out without me.
Yes, and of course, that is perhaps the reason why she is able to say, or she was able to say, that it was your convoy.
She could have said that. When she says so, yeah, maybe I could take responsibility for it.
Would you be prepared to apologize to her?
Yeah, exactly.
I understand that she is in the audience.
I am.
Is Aloba in the audience? Could she stand up?
I am.
I think that's the lady. She's a fuller woman.
Okay.
You know, you can apologize to her in fuller.
Okay. Can I go to her, please?
Please, take the mic with you. Take the microphone with you. The lady can come closer. Speak into the microphone, please.
Mi wiyane mi salima in heɓani kono mimi tinano en te simi tinano en ne tawsi ko sukamɓe waɗi en gaccana kam hakke
Abko, I am so he asked the lady her name, she gave her name, and the witness.
Hello.
After the witness asked the lady her name, the lady gave her name as Aluba, and then the witness told her that, well, even if this thing happened to you and my bodyguards did it to you, I'm appealing to you and I'm begging you to forgive me. Then that's the time when the lady started speaking rapidly. I was unable to catch that.
Mr. Sabali, thank you very much. You have apologized. You can now take your seat. Ms. Ba, she would be given an opportunity to organize something with the Reconciliation Committee for a meeting between the two of you. But in the meantime, we just give her the opportunity to say a few things, no more than 1 minute, and then we take it from there. Could you say that in fuller, so that Ms. Ba can understand what's going on?
Okay, Johnny ko lead council o hali kolumoni Johnny alo benin nyagama puru hala haisita hewani wata bur minute goto kono awawa halde ko woni e nder aniyama kono non nyande arab nyande bo anduda be noddi tat kawrital hakkunde maye hakkunde sede o ko kanko ko dum woni Mr. Sabali pour jodon jewton mbo nyagama accanamo hakke hunde nde huuba don dum non si Allah jabi ko yeso wonota kono hande joni ni awawa halde goddum ko woni e nder aniyama pour ko be wadnoma joni ko an men jentata
Johnny Sitawi.
She's saying that now, if it is,
Johnny Sitawi o wawi kam wallude.
If he can help
kam kadi kala ko o tampi hen, kala ko o wasi hen, o hetti dum.
Okay, mbimi, what says, sa hali andi mi kala mi hala dum. Kono sa continue hala ka mi wata halde ko halta kon. Fuddu joni hala, sa hali aham.
Si tawi mi wawi kam wallude.
She said that if the witness can help her,
simo ka wawi wallude ko wurande am ko wawmi liggade.
If the witness can help her to have something that can help her also to have a living. She's saying that her uncle spent a lot on her treatment. If that can be reimbursed, if the witness can reimburse them for that, at this present moment, that's my hand with me. I cannot do anything with my hand that was shot. So, the uncle also went to the witness compound and to the shop. It is because of this incident that all that he had, he lost everything because of the treatment I went through. If he can reimburse them for that or repay them back. If he can also help me to get something to do where I can earn a living, whereby I can solve my own problems for myself.
ala tambuɗo wawi yafade kono sina ɗum mi wawa yafade.
On that note, I can forgive him forever. But without that payment, I will not forgive him.
All right, thank you very much. Mr. Savali, you can take your seat. May I inform the witness that he should talk with the Victim Support Unit, and the Victim Support Unit would explain the law to her with regards reparations. So I think the process is that as a victim, she would be entitled to reparations, but that is a separate matter and would be addressed at the relevant time period. Can we have that interpreted for the victim in fuller, please?
Madam Aloba, ko lead counsel o haali joni ko ɗum woni ɗum noon hakkunde ma e seede o Mr. Sabali ɗon ko hunde wotere, kono noon no woodi committee mo annduɗa kamɓe haaldata e yimɓe mo annduɗa ɓe heɓno tampere on waktu on yimɓe heɓnoɓe tampere noon si Allah jaɓi ɓe okkat ɗumen goɗɗum, kono noon ɗum koye committee o wonata, committee o joɗata ɓe ndaara ɗum, kono noon ɓe waɗat kawrital hakkunde an hoorema e on committee pour ɓe ndaara hoɗum ɓe fotima waɗande ɗum ɓe waɗat ɗum si Allah jaɓi. Kono hakkunde ma kala e Mr. Sabali ɗum noon ko hakkunde mon woni onon ɗiɗo, ɗum kala on joɗat on jewta on ndaaron no accantamo ko waɗi ko gaccanamo hakke, par ce que ɗum kola ndaara sita o wawi waɗanama goɗɗum ko wiɗa ko mbo waɗa ɗum, kono ɗum fof ko haala wawata ɗum hubde si Allah jaɓi on joɗat on jewta te noon committee marɗo yobde yimɓe mo annduɗa ɓe heɓno tampere, on committee kala joɗat ɓe ndaara ko hoɗum ɓe futma okkude.
Thank you very much. And thank you, Mr. Sabali,
Thank you.
For agreeing to apologize publicly to Aloba for what happened to her, and also for the other people who were victims of the violence meted out to users of the road by your orderlies. Now we move on to another topic.
Okay.
On 6 September 1994, something happened at the prisons.
Right.
Can you tell us about it?
This was an intelligence, on this particular day, was an intelligence report we received from the NIA through Daba Marena, because he was the officer, NIA officer attached to the State House, that Ibrahim Chongan was sending information to the diplomatic corps. And I informed the council, and then we visited him at the Mile 2 prisons.
At the level of the council, was a decision taken as to how to deal with this issue?
Yes.
What was the decision?
The decision was we go there and show them that they cannot bring any trouble as far as we are concerned.
And how were you to show them that?
We should talk to them and warn them.
And what else?
That was all.
Was the decision taken that they were to be beaten and taught a lesson?
Beating shouldn't have been part of it, but I go straight to the Mile 2 prisons. When we arrived there, they were told to come out.
Can you tell us who went with you?
All the 4 council members except Yaya Jame.
And your orderlies?
All this, of course, were there.
Could you still recall who your orderlies were?
Here, my orderlies changed duties or performed their duties on changing rules, and that I was not in control of. That is to say, even the drivers, they have their way to serve 2 days, go on off, 2 days, go on off. So they keep rotating along that line.
Do you recall which orderlies you were with on that evening, on that night?
I recall I was there with Babu Kanjai,
Which Babu Kanjai?
commonly called Jichep.
And also Ponkal.
Okay, this Ponkal name, I just heard of it when the TRRC started.
But like he described it himself, he very seldom, quite seldom was he called by that name.
Exactly.
Ponkal.
Correct.
But when they say Njai Ponkal, they would be referring to him.
That's true.
That's right. So you went with Njai the Chep, and who else?
And the other guards, meaning four of the council members. And when we arrived,
And who else? Did you go with any other oddlies?
all this, of course, I would think, if I'm right, I had Babu Kanjai, Mohammed Sambu, Albert Gomez, but I think at this point in time, Albert was already in hospital from that accident. The drivers, of course, Lamin Rame, Dembo Jiba, or Wahab Koli. I had two drivers. And Jakaria Dabo, then B. Njai was also part of my details.
Indeed. So, how about the other council members?
Those of Sadibu were from the TSG, most of them. I cannot remember all of them, but the driver, I think he was a sergeant. By Edward Singate, I think he had Mustafa Ture with him, commonly called Churo. He had Lamin S. Marong from Farato or Jambur.
Would that be King Kong?
I never knew him about that nickname. Yeah, but he's from Jambur or Farato.
And then?
And Yanko Ture had his driver, Samba Jalo. And his oddlies, I cannot remember exactly their names. But if I'm reminded, I could say who belonged to who.
Ensa Mendy?
Ensa Mendy, I think he belonged to Yanko Ture, I think, if I'm right.
Jali Suso?
Jali Suso was with Ture, if I'm right also.
That's right. So, but for Sadibu, you cannot remember.
Sadibu, I can remember. Only the driver, he was a sergeant.
How about Singate?
Singate had, as I said, Lamin S. Ture and Samba Jalo.
And which Samba Bach?
Samba from, I think, from Farato also.
How about Alfuseni?
Suso.
Oh,
No, not Job, Suso.
Suso, yes.
Yeah,
Alfuseni Suso.
Suso was with Sadibu.
Sadibu.
Exactly.
That's right. All right. So,
And Lamara Jalo also with Sadibu.
how about Peter Singate? Did he participate in this operation?
Peter, on this night, I don't think. I don't
Okay.
think.
So you went to the prisons
Yes.
to teach them a lesson,
Exactly.
right? And you said initially torturing them was not part of it.
It was wrong to have tortured them.
Okay, we would come to that. It's
Okay.
good that you have admitted torturing them, but initially torturing them was not part of it. That's what you suggested.
Yes, correct.
So how were you going to teach them a lesson?
Is to talk to them and warn them that we are privy to an information, an intelligence information from the NIA,
And what else?
and then we were not going to allow anything of that nature to happen.
But teaching one a lesson would entail more than that, wouldn't it?
Of course.
So, and what was that?
This is where the tortures came in.
Okay, tell us what happened when you arrived at Mile 2 prison.
When we arrived, we informed the authorities there. They led us to the security confinement.
Was this the first night or the second night? How many times did you go there?
Here I will say I visited almost every place in the night, not only prison. I went to hospitals, I went to police stations.
Did you visit Mile 2 prison twice during that period at night
I think
for
it
this
was,
particular purpose?
no,
The evidence we have is you went there on the 5th and you could not find the person who had the keys to the security
correct,
wing.
correct,
That's correct.
yeah,
So you went the second day.
exactly.
All right. And tell us what happened when you went the second day. Did anything happen to the person who had the keys and was not available the night before?
The person who had the keys the day before, when we went there, he was on duties. They said he left the prison service, he locked everybody in, took the key away, and he went to, the German say, Biergarten, meaning he went to drink alcohol somewhere else.
That's the information you received.
Genau. Exactly.
But you had, apart from that, you had no evidence that he went to drink alcohol,
No.
did you? Exactly. And what happened to him?
He was arrested the next day, I think.
And what happened after that?
I think he was detained shortly.
Where was he detained?
I think at my two prisons.
Where in Mile 2 prison?
I think it should be security wing,
And what was his crime?
because he locked everybody and went with the keys.
So he was entitled to be detained at security wing.
Exactly.
Wouldn't that be unlawful?
It is unlawful.
Thank you. So you went to Mile 2 prison, and this time around, how did you get access?
We talked to the authorities concerned. They opened the doors. We informed Chongan, Babukar Jeng, and Mamad Cham.
Babukar Jeng, he was in the camp during the coup of July 22nd.
Correct.
Was he part of the coup?
He was not part of the coup.
He was against.
He was against.
And was that in fact the reason why he was arrested?
As I said, in the coup making, you try to identify immediately those who are trying to put obstacles along the way, and you have no choice but to arrest them and detain them.
As a result, he was a casualty.
Yeah, casualty in which sense, if I may ask?
He was a victim of unlawful arrest.
Unlawful arrest here, fine. I would say that not all who were arrested and detained did something wrong. It was only a situation where we had to arrest people, detain them, so that we don't have problem along the way.
That's right. So he was one of those.
He was against the coup.
As a result, you had to have him arrested.
Genau.
Good. All right. So on this day, you went there. Walk us through how things unfolded the moment you arrived at Security Wing. Security Wing number 4. We also want to know what was the environment like at the time.
When we arrived at the prison department, we talked to the authorities who were on charge. They opened the door. We informed Chongan, Mamad Cham, and Babukar Jeng
What did you tell them?
that we are privy to information from the NIA that they are in the picture of sending information to the diplomatic corps.
Was it a meeting, or you went to their cells individually? How did that conversation occur?
We stood at the corridor and we announced this information to them.
And then what happened after that?
And then they have to be taken out of their cells.
Did they have to be, or you took them out of your cells?
I said that they should be taken out of the cell. That was my command.
Okay, and what happened after that?
They opened the cell doors, they lie down or they sat down and they refused to come out. And they orderlies dragged them out of the cell.
What was anything done to them as they were being dragged out of the cells?
No, at a particular point, no. In fact, when they dragged them out of their cells, they stood up and walked the rest of the distance to security number 1.
We have received evidence that as they were being dragged out of their cells, they were being rifle-butted, they were being butt-struck and kicked.
Up to this point, no, that has not happened.
Okay. This is evidence from those who participated. Your orderlies agree that they were being rifle-butted, they were being butt-struck and kicked when they were being dragged out of their cells.
Hey.
Also,
Okay.
Ibrahim Chongan testified, Babukar Jeng testified, Mamad Cham also testified. All of them agree that they were being beaten, butt-struck, while they were dragged out of the cells. Not only that, Superintendent Jeng testified to that same fact. Sirif Gomez also testified to that same fact. Are you saying all of them are lying?
They were not beaten when they have been dragged out. As I said, they were dragged out only from the cells, but the rest of the distance, they walked on their own. However, when they got to security number 1, they were beaten.
They were beaten under your command.
Exactly.
And all the orderlies participated in the beating.
If I say all the orderlies, that would be a lie, but the orderlies beat him. I cannot say exactly who and who exactly, but the orderlies beat him.
this decision, was it unilateral, only Sana Sabali, or this was your decision with your council members who were present?
It was my personal decision.
Your council members participated in the activity?
We, the council members, didn't beat anybody by hand, but in the fact that it was done by our guards, it was my responsibility.
It was the responsibility of all of you present, all council members present.
Yeah, in as much as they did not stop or they have taken part in it as a watch, it was our responsibility.
As far as you know, did any council member stop the activity from happening, the torturing from happening?
No.
So you accept that all of you are responsible.
I am responsible.
I know you have accepted your personal responsibility. I am now talking about your collective responsibility as members of the council who were present there and oversaw your own orderlies torturing those 3 detainees.
As humanly as possible, I believe if they were here, they would accept also their responsibility collectively.
You believe that they are responsible?
Collectively, yes, and individually.
Are you prepared to apologize to these people, Ibrahim Chongan, Mamad Cham, and RSM Jeng?
I will not hesitate to correct myself when I find I have made a mistake, and I have made a mistake. And I'm prepared to apologize to all of them wholeheartedly.
I want to believe that all of them would be watching or would watch later. You have an opportunity, talk to them.
Major Chongan Ibrahima, Mama Cham, Major Mama Cham, W2 Babakar Gomez, Babakar Jeng, I am wholeheartedly saying I am sorry and I'm asking for forgiveness.
Thank you very much. Of course, the torture of those people did not end at the beating. There was shooting, wasn't there any?
I did the shooting personally.
And the shooting was intended to do what?
It was intended to show them that we will not allow anything to happen in our reign.
You intended to scare them?
Exactly, to show them that we meant business.
You intended for it to be believed that these detainees were being executed?
9, it could have been interpreted in that form, but not. That was not my intention.
But you did not dispel the belief from them or from the others that these people were executed?
It could be perceived in that form, and I would accept it in that nature also.
In fact, Major Chongan testified. He said after Mama Cham was taken out, unbeaten, and shots fired, you came to him and showed him your hands and said, you know what this is? This is blood. You intended to scare him, didn't you?
But where could that blood have come from?
From your victims. They were being kicked and beaten and tortured.
From them? Who? Nay. No.
You suggesting Chongan is lying about that?
At that particular point, yes. The rest, correct, but that one, no.
Okay. When you were leaving Mile 2 on that day, in fact, before that, you segregated these victims of torture from the other security detainees, didn't you?
Yes, we did.
You did not want those who remained inside, those who remained in security wing number 4, to know the fate of those who were taken to security wing number 1.
If you know the prison department, if you know the security wing better, you would know that anybody in security number 4 could see what was happening in security number 1.
To some extent, but not when one is locked up in the cells in security wing number 1.
Correct.
So those in security wing number 4 wouldn't know the fate of those you guys have locked up in security wing number 1.
Of course they would know.
Well, we have received testimony from Jeng, Superintendent Jeng. They did not know what had happened to them. They believed those people were killed.
No.
We have also received testimony from Sirif Gomez. He also said they believed that those who were taken to security wing number 1 were killed.
I would agree they could believe so, in as much as firing had happened.
But in fact, it was staged in such a way as to convey that impression to them,
No.
wasn't it?
No.
So that was not your objective. That's what you suggested.
I'm the one who fired 2 shots on the ground, and that was very close to my own feet.
Well, the evidence we have received is to the contrary.
Okay.
And all witnesses testified that these people were not taken out together. They were taken out one after the other.
That's correct.
First, Mohammed Cham taken out, he was beaten and shots fired. And Mohammed Cham, they didn't see him again. They came for Chongan, beaten, taken out, shots fired. He didn't come back. Then they came back the third time for RSM Jeng, beaten, shots fired, and he didn't come back. Is that the sequence of events?
Nay, when I had to fire, they were all at the wall at this particular time. All of the 3, all of them.
Well, all 3 of them testified, and none of them put it in the way you did. All 3 of them said they were taken to the wall individually. They did not even know that the other 2 were in fact alive. Every single one of them thought that the other 2 were executed. They only got to know that the other 2 were alive subsequently after your departure. What do you say to that?
No. Of course, they were brought to the wall one by one. That is 100% correct. But when I addressed them, all the 3 were standing.
That is certainly a story that is different from 5 witnesses who testified before the TRRC. And all 5 witnesses were consistent about the fact that they were taken out individually. They had the shouts and the cry, and then the shots. That person is taken away, and then another person is brought. We did not have testimony suggesting that all 3 of them converge at the same location.
I am repeating, I am the one who asked them to be brought to the wall one by one, and I am the one who made the shots right in front of my feet. So if they would say that, I am very surprised.
Did you leave the impression deliberately that these security detainees who were removed from security wing number 4 to security wing number 1 were in fact executed? Did you leave that impression?
No, never. That has never been my intention.
We received evidence that on your way out, those in security wing number 4 were told that these people, we have dealt with them, they have been executed, we will come back for you. Tomorrow it's your turn.
Anybody could have said that if it had been said, but not from my end, and I've not heard it from any other person.
And what do you say to the suggestion that the other 30-odd detainees at security wing number 4 remained in detention for about 45 days, expecting every single night that you and your entourage would come and torture them as promised by your group when they were leaving?
But when we arrived, we did tell them that the 3 people were concerned. So I don't think they should think like that. However, under the circumstances, they have all rights to be scared to death.
And scared to death they were for 45 days. And they claim that that amounted to serious torture on them. What do you say to that?
I agree, that's a psychological torture.
Would you apologize to them?
I do.
Please talk to them.
I am apologizing wholeheartedly with the help of God that I am saying I am very sorry. I am very sorry, and to all Gambians, I am very sorry.
Thank you very much. I won't tire reiterating this important point, that this is the value of the TRRC. People should come here and speak the truth, accept responsibility for the mistakes they have committed, and ask for forgiveness. And that is the only way forward for our country. Thank you very much, Mr. Sabally.
Thank you.
And now, let's move on to
I want to say just something, if I'm allowed.
Please, go ahead.
With regards to Ibrahim Chongan, it will be surprising to anybody here, probably. We have, from my end and from his end, I believe, we have reconciled since. Each time he came to Germany, we had met. He had initiated that meeting. He had come to ask for me, and then I was called and I went to meet him.
Well, that is very Gambian. That is very human. And thank you very much for reconciling your differences. I am sure that Mr. Chongan was true to his words when he sat on that same chair and said he has forgiven you and he has forgiven your colleagues. But thank you very much for that. That is very important.
He has my respect.
Yes, indeed. And this is what this TRRC must encourage. People should forget their differences and try to reconcile. But that can only be helped if the truth comes out. And we will do our utmost to bring out that truth for the entire nation to hear. Now let's move on to a next topic.
Okay.
November 11.
Okay.
Kindly tell us what happened prior to the events of November 11. Who were the players? Why were they motivated to take action, and all the events that happened during that period?
If I would be allowed.
We have 25 minutes.
Okay.
And let's do it in a very structured manner.
Okay.
You may speak to Mandinka in Mandinka if you wish, and tomorrow you would speak in Fula and Wolof.
I think I would prefer to speak in English right now, since I'm going to go into military aspects.
By all means,
okay.
By all means.
I'll make this one quickly. Maybe it has an attachment, maybe not, but it's important that I talk about it. On or about September or October, I can't remember exactly, we had weapons we bought, and these are heavy support weapons. And when these weapons came in, I was, as I said before, I was the heavy weapons support commander in Yundum Barracks. And my assistant was Jibril Sey. Then he was at WO2. At one point, I asked the council that we should have this weapon so that we can train the soldiers on them. And Jame said no, so we let it at that. However, I advise we have some weapons stored in the State House. And we all agree upon that, and then we informed the army commander, and then quartermaster was informed, it was Captain Balde, Musa Balde. And these weapons were to be brought into the State House. I asked WO2 Sey, Jibril Sey, to prepare the weapons, and I told him exactly what we wanted, or what we needed at the State House. Here, I want the Gambians to pay attention to exactly at this point. He has been in the army for so long, and when he went back to Yundum to bring these weapons, he brought the equipment, the weapons proper, but the ammunition, instead of bringing live ammunition, he brought in all blancos for us. They stored them in the 4 containers we had there. These are shipping containers. So it happened, as I said, in September, October, I can't remember exactly when, but if the commission would find out with the quartermasters in Yundum Barracks, the date would be ascertained as to exactly when it had happened. Now, one day I was just coming from Chairman Jame. It was enough, I'm going back to the office, and the sun was so hot that I felt the RPG rounds especially could explode in those containers. So I called Alma Oman, I said, open the container so that we can air them in a little bit. And upon opening one container, I immediately realized we had blank ammunition right there. I asked, open all the 4 containers. They opened all the 4 containers, and everything was blank ammunition. I called Jibril Sey, he came, I took him round, I told him exactly what happened. How come that we have only blank ammunition and not live round, as ordered by me for you to bring them to? He said, it was a mistake. I told him, that cannot be a mistake. With your service, and your rank in the army, and your training, that couldn't have been a mistake. But as a human being, he said it was a mistake. I said, okay, I take it as a mistake. But for me, it was security threat. Immediately, I went back to Jame, I reported the matter to the council, and I said, now, because Jame was saying we parade these weapons on the Independence Day, for example, as part of the parade celebration. I said, no, for me, right now, I will take some weapons and train my guards for eventualities. And this eventualities was what happened on the 10th of November.
Can you tell us the information you received about the planning of November 11?
Okay. On Thursday, usually we have our cabinet meetings, and on Friday, the council meeting. So on this particular Thursday, on 10th November 1994, we were in cabinet meeting. A call came from Samba Balde, the then NIA director. He said, Vice, I said yes. He said, there is disturbance reported at Yundum Barracks. Here, I would want everybody to understand, nothing is...
You mentioned Samba Balde, head of
Samba
NIA.
Ba.
Thank you for that correction.
Slip of tongue, Samba Ba. Here, we talk about issues like disturbance, not a coup up to this time, and not a mutiny up to this time. We qualified as disturbance first. He said there was disturbance in the military barracks and at Yundum. We called the army commander, Babakar Yatta, at the time, said we should address the situation immediately. Meaning we would decamp Yundum Barracks, Fajara Barracks the same day as our thought, and then the next day, which could have been Friday, I would go to Farafenye to address everybody, the soldiers I mean. Myself, Second Lieutenant Sabali, okay, at this time, Captain Sabali, Edward Singate was on this particular point at the airport because we had a visitor, the Minister of Energy and Mines from Sierra Leone, Idris Kamara, Colonel Idris Kamara. He saw him at the airport off. So I called Edward, I said, from the airport, come to the camp immediately. And I explained a little bit to him that we had disturbance in the camp, so we have to address the situation immediately. We called Sarib Hydra, and I think Yankubo Ture also went, if I'm correct. Babakar Yatta went, we went to the Yundum Barracks. But before we went to Yundum Barracks, as a protocol, the battalion commander, who was Lieutenant Morong, was informed of this particular visit. The HU camp commander was Lieutenant Barrow. He was informed. And under Army rules and regulations, they were supposed to be on the ground when such a visit would have to take place. Upon arrival, Lieutenant Barrow was nowhere to be found. I said, okay. We called his house. I believe it's Marong who called, or I don't know exactly who called, but a call was initiated to his house. The reply came, the wife said Barrow was not around.
Which wife, do you know?
I cannot remember exactly who, but if the name is said, maybe I can remember.
Proceed, please.
Then we decided to talk to the
Proceed, please. Or
Okay.
you want me to give you
No,
the
no,
names of the wives?
no. We,
It's Sunkaru?
yeah, correct.
All right.
We decided to talk to the soldiers. In the military, we have three categories of ranks. We have the men, meaning the private soldiers or the private soldiers, recruits, private soldiers, lance corporal, corporals. These are the junior ranks. We call them officially men. We have the sergeants, the staff sergeants, WO2s and WO1s. These are the ones we call non-NCOs, but they are the seniors of the men. And then we have the officers, the commission officers. So I thought it was going to be necessary so that we try to get to the core of the situation. If we have to talk to them all together, the officers are there, it would not have worked. I said, okay, we separate them into these categories. We first talk to the men alone, without the officers or without the senior NCOs. In this meeting, it was reported that Lieutenant Barrow told them each one of the soldiers at the State House was paid $10,000. I told them that was a lie. What happened was 5,000 was paid, but not to everybody. Because when we came in, already the civilian plainclothes officers in the PG were already paid. However, our bodyguards also have to go in civil mufti. We decided they also should be paid a little bit. Farmer Yatta, the finance officer who was attached to the State House, was called. We asked for his advice. He said they cannot pay these services right now. As I said, it was already paid. We asked him what could be done. He said he will find out. Later, it was found out, he said he has some little money, but it could not be sufficient for everybody. that I said, okay, me personally, for my guards, they could share the 5,000 to each 2,500, 2,500 for the meantime. And this is how the money was paid. And not 10,000 to each individual. So I knew the problem was misinformation. Up to this point, we are not scaling it or defining it as a coup, but a disturbance. We suspended the meeting right there. We went to the the sergeants, senior NCOs. There also we had a meeting with them, and there, Sajakal was there, called Secham, is his real name, but he came into the army with a youth.
Is it Said Cham?
His real name is Secham, but he came with a false certificate into the army.
Well, all right.
That's not important. We call him by what we know him from in the army.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
The Sergeant Juf spoke.
Is he called Cham Juf or Cham or Juf?
This said Cham Juf came only after he left the army. He has always been Juf, Alaji Juf.
All right. Thank
Right.
you. All right. Please proceed, please.
We talked with them also, and then we found out exactly all my suspicion personally that the line is coming. I connected the dots that this misinformation with the junior ranks had also to do something with the senior NCOs. I gave them strict warning that the Jawara government was a civilian. It is better we work together as Gambians, as the same military, than to try to foment misunderstanding or anything that would bring trouble in the country. And I was very stern, very clearly. I gave you information that anybody who wants to try anything, we would stand and we would not run away. And I personally, I will not run away from anybody. The fact that we have the same weapons, we have the same training, we have the same weapons, we have the same training. I will not run away from anybody. I would rather take a blade on my chest rather than to take a blade on my back. I will not run away from anybody. I would stand to fight to death.
To kill or be killed?
Of course, that is in the military. That's what we are trained.
So the threat they received was anybody who tries to overthrow your government would be killed?
Of course.
Thank you. Proceed.
We went to the office corps, and here, Lieutenant Jibril Sey stood clearly and said, Captain Sabali, Lieutenant Morong is not a good officer. I interjected quickly. I told him that is very, very wrong, completely. When did you become an officer to know who an officer is or who a good officer is? You are just promoted by the council. So you cannot tell me who a good officer is. And I gave them also the same warning. It is better you do away with your these grievances. We sit together, we talk about it, we resolve the problem within and among us. However, if anybody wants to come against us, we will fight. We are soldiers and officers.
Wasn't it that if anybody came against us, they would be crushed? Wasn't it?
In the military, this is a common term.
And was this common term used in this particular occasion?
Of course.
So you told them that they would be crushed?
Of course. Anybody who come against us will be crushed.
And by crushing them, you mean they would be killed?
Because that would be the same thing they would have done to us.
But this is what you told them?
Exactly.
Thank you. Let's proceed.
Now we talk up to around, exactly we went to Union Barracks around 10, 11 if I'm correct. We were there up to around 1900 hours towards 2000 hours. Personally, I thought, okay, everything is finished. Then we called Fajara Barracks to stand down, meaning we are not going there today, but the next day. And we called Farafanya Barracks to say, I'll be there on Saturday.
During this time, do you know, or did you come to know where Lieutenant Barrow was?
No, we never knew where he was.
Did you receive any information subsequently as to where he was?
Later I come to know about where he was.
Kindly tell us about it.
I'm coming to that if I may.
Okay, proceed.
Get to that.
Proceed.
Right. Now we took it officers, we left Union Barracks to go back to the residences. As soon as I arrived at the residence, I removed my jacket, my overcoat jacket, and then Private Jame, Buba Jame, and one Lance Corporal.
Buba Jame, what was his nickname?
This is Kanilai Junior.
And that would be Yaya Jame's cousin, wasn't it? Wouldn't he?
I think so, yeah.
All right, proceed,
Yeah,
please.
he was a private soldier. And then Lance Corporal Jalo, we call him nickname Iron Bender, he was a driver, or most of us knew him again by the Chinese driver, because the vehicle he used to drive was used by the Chinese training team. They came and said they wanted to arrest us. They have broken into the armories. They have taken arms. I did not waste any time. I just called the council members quickly, Yankubu Ture, Edward Singate, Sadiu Hydra. They converged at my place at the residence. I said, let's go to the State House. And I called Jame. I said, we are coming. This situation had developed into something else. It's no more a disturbance, and it's no more a mutiny. It's going towards a coup. They have not listened to our messages.
How did you feel at this time?
Betrayed, of course, disappointed, confused.
That an illegal act was about to occur.
A disaster was going to occur.
An illegal act also.
Exactly.
Okay, interesting.
We went to the State House. I relayed the message to Jame, and I called everybody, all the soldiers who were there, the state guards, and I said, here is the situation.
Let's talk about your discussion with Jame. Was it just you or with all the council members?
All the council members.
And was a decision taken?
Exactly.
What was the decision?
That we go and meet the enemy, whoever he was.
And to do what?
Is to fight the enemy.
To crush them?
Of course.
To kill them?
Of course.
That was the decision that was taken?
Right, correct.
All of you participated in that?
Of course.
So any soldier at Yundum Barracks or at Fajara Barracks who would have died as a result would have in fact been killed as a result of the decision that was taken that night by the council members?
Depends on from which angle you're looking at it. Here we are two enemy forces.
No, what I'm saying is any soldier in the opposite side
Right.
who would have been killed during your attack or the next day by your side would have been killed pursuant to that decision that was taken by the council members.
And by their action to come against us.
Yes, but then it would have been as a result of a decision you have already taken that these people would be killed, correct?
Killing is not the issue here. We all know human life is sacred.
No, but that is not where I'm driving.
Okay.
What I'm saying is, you met and you had a common plan. A plan to go and meet the enemy and crush them and kill them. That was the plan you had, correct?
Correct.
And all council members participated in that plan to go out there and kill these people.
It is not to be understood in that form. However, the meaning is that is to say,
I am content with the fact that the meaning, as you call it,
exactly,
was to go to Yundum Barracks and Fajara Barracks and kill these people you believe were your enemies.
In the military, anywhere in the world, they will tell you the best form of defense is attack.
That may very well be the case. All I am trying to do is to understand the common plan, the agreement that you had by all council members. And in your words, that was to go and crush these people to kill them.
It is not a plan as to say such. It is a battle drill to handle the enemy.
A plan nonetheless.
Yeah.
By yeah, you mean yes?
Yes, of course.
Thank you very much. Now you have arrived at that decision to go and cross the soldiers, the enemy. How did that plan, that decision by the council members filter down to the troops, to the junior ranks that you used? I
addressed the junior ranks that here we had gotten an information and we were at Yundum Barracks to talk to them. However, the second information that came through Kanilai Junior and Lance Corporal Jallo was that they had taken arms, broken into the armories and taken arms, and this is live ammunition.
At this stage, did you go with Lance Corporal Jallo and Kanilai, or did you leave them behind?
Yeah, we left them behind.
All right. So at State House, you informed your orderlies and others the decision. How many troops were gathered at State House when you briefed them?
I would take it that the whole State Guard was present.
How many?
This would be a company.
About 30-something people?
A company is between 120 and 150. A fully-fledged company. Rifle company, I mean.
That many?
Yeah, but at that point we were understaffed.
The evidence we received is that about 45 people or thereabout participated?
It's possible.
It's possible.
It's possible.
Okay. And yes, proceed. What happened after you gave them those instructions? Did Jame in fact participate in that?
I'm coming to that.
All right, please, go ahead.
Then we made a parade. I addressed the men, the officers and men who were there, that here is the information. We are going to attack an enemy, an unknown enemy. We say it because we don't know who exactly they were. In as much as also we did not know whether they had any external support. We qualified them as unknown enemy. But what we knew to be certain of was that Yundum Barracks armories were broken into and arms and ammunition, live ammunition were taken. I said, now we have a situation in hand. We cannot wait for the enemy to come and attack us in our house. We have to meet them where they are. And that means at this particular point, Yundum Barracks. But here, if anybody wants to fight for the council, you can stay on the left-hand side. Anybody who wants to fight for the state, you can go on the right-hand side. Here we are all...
which were the two sides? Council and?
Yeah, okay. I mean the council, the Armed Forces Professional Union Council. If I say, okay, I'm only fighting for the council, you stay behind. But if you are fighting for the state, go to the right-hand side.
What was the difference?
The difference was, individually I could say, okay, if Sana goes, I go. If Sana doesn't go, I don't go. And that had come to happen.
Okay.
Then,
and fighting for the state was?
This was our defensive mechanism.
Okay.
Because before we can defend the state, we have to defend ourselves first.
So the decision to go was voluntary?
Exactly. 100% voluntary.
Okay. Proceed.
And then it took a while, maybe 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, before somebody else had crossed the line to my right. And eventually we are all human beings. Sense of shame is there. And then everybody crossed to the right-hand side. Then I said, we are going to attack, we are going to fight. We may not come back. At this particular point in time, Jame said he was going to go also. I said, no, you are not going to go. You stay behind and hold the rear. If in case we are captured or we are dead, you continue the mission. And eventually he accepted to stay behind.
We have received evidence that Jame said, Billahi wallahi talai, if I go, some families will weep. Is that true?
That reaction could have happened to the Jame. He could say that. But it meant nothing.
Of course, it meant a reinforcement of the threat that people will be killed.
Yeah, but what is more of a threat than breaking into the armory, taking arms, and coming against somebody who has...
I am not talking about the threat that you were receiving. I am talking about the threat you were giving.
Yeah.
So that was a threat by Jame.
In any, of course, if he had said so, I would say yes.
But you're still not sure whether he said so or not?
No. I would have also said the same thing.
Because you had the mindset that you would go and kill your enemy.
No, until they posted to us, we had not done
But the
anything.
mindset, nonetheless, was to go and kill your enemy.
Of course, what are you going to do to an enemy? And there's no small enemy.
Okay? All right. But you know that there are rules as to how to treat your enemy in terms of a war.
This convention, Geneva Convention, forget it. It doesn't operate anywhere in this world. Forget it.
And under Sana Bairo Sabali, the Geneva Convention was a dead letter law. It didn't mean anything.
Completely. I have said it and I'll repeat it here. Nobody is happy about it and nobody can be happy about it.
So when you are going to Yundum Barracks, you believe, your mindset was the Geneva Convention meant nothing.
In that situation, when battle is on, it is not a right that matters, but victory.
No, the question is, when you were going to this particular war, as you termed it, the Geneva Conventions and the additional protocols meant nothing to you.
They were not even in my mind.
They were dead letter law.
They were not even in my mind.
You had no intention of ever applying them.
No. At a particular point, no.
Thank you very much. So let's proceed.
And then we come into battle formation. We went. All of a sudden, when we went all the way to Abuko, if you come almost to Gamtel, on the right-hand side going to Yundum, there is a small mosque on the right-hand side.
Before you talk about what happened at that mosque, I just want to clear which officers came with you. We know that all council members were there. Did you have any other military officer who was not a council member who joined your party?
I'm coming to that. Just give me a little time.
All
I'm
right,
coming to that.
please.
That's why I jumped all the way to Abuko Mosque.
Please.
For me, it was going to be like all of us were going to go into this battle. But as soon as we stopped at Abuko, at this mosque, I realized only the vehicles of the council members were there. All the other soldiers had stopped at Denton Bridge. I came to understand later, the next day.
Do you know why?
They said for them it was to hold at the bridge.
No, not to go and fight. How do you know? And how did you deal with that?
Yeah, here you are fighting two enemies, one front, one at the rear. That's how I perceive it.
Was it just paranoia or was it a legitimate observation?
From my end, no, they were paranoid to go. Yeah.
But you weren't paranoid, having realized that your rear guard has in fact stayed behind and could potentially switch to become an enemy.
No, I was not afraid of anything, to be quite honest. Here, personally, I am not afraid of the weapons, rather the men behind the weapons. The weapon alone cannot do anything.
So how did you do with that situation? How did you handle it?
Here is what we call contingency plans. The group has failed, you have to do with what you have.
And what did you do?
We went on forward with the exercise. This
How many
operation.
men?
Our bodyguards and ourselves.
So,
4 council members.
so all the other volunteers from State House, they stayed behind at the bridge.
Of course.
They chickened out.
Completely, 100% correct.
All right.
Right.
Okay. And then what happened
And
after?
then we went up to behind Yundum, and then there we form our battle formation.
Who was in charge? Who was in command?
I was in command.
And explain the formation to us.
When we went to start our battle formation, we took the arrow. This is where I would say, yeah, classified information. But to give you a little information on that, for the benefit of people to know the truth, it is, we went into battle formation, meaning Edwards group went forward. I think Yankuba or Sadibu, one went left or right. I held the rear.
What do you say to the suggestion that Yankuba stayed at the back, he stayed behind?
I don't think he stayed at the back. Diamond formation is always 4. One front, one left.
Your evidence is that it was in fact your group that stayed at the back.
Yeah, we stayed behind.
Okay, proceed please.
And then Edwards group attack, infiltrated the camp. We came thereafter.
And then what happened?
We attacked the camp.
Yes, tell us what happened during that attack.
In this attack, you have to fight to capture the camp.
Was there any shooting at this time?
Of course. You can't take a camp without shooting. It's not impossible.
What do you say to the suggestion that there was no resistance at Yundum? You came, you just changed the sentries, no shot was fired.
No. No. Because we don't have time, I have jumped to this position.
No, we would have time for you, Mr. Sabali.
Okay.
Go through it.
The changing of these guards is totally false, because at this particular point in time, on the 13th of this Sunday would have been the Remembrance Day parade celebration. And Binet Munte and Dotfal were the adjutants of these camps respectively. So they had the guard command under their command. They could post the guards anywhere they wanted. They could put the guards anywhere they wanted. And that is here where they wanted to arrest this Lance Corporal Jallo and Private Jame Kanilai Jr. They escaped them because they were not informed that the guard changes have taken place. So they came normal to take part in their duty roster.
Why was it necessary to want to arrest Kanilai, Buba Jame?
It's automatic, it's of course.
Tell us, I have my, whenever I ask a question, I know the answer, but I just have to ask
whatever they would have done, Jame would have giving the information out, and that's exactly what he did.
He was a snitch.
No, in this particular moment, no.
He was a rat.
No.
I'm sorry for using that language, but in military terms, that's what it would mean.
He was a loyal soldier.
He would be someone who would sneak and go and report the matter to Jammeh.
He was a loyal
to
soldier.
you.
He was a loyal soldier.
Or was he loyal to Jammeh?
He was loyal to the system.
He was loyal to Jammeh.
Not Jammeh. Because if Jammeh was to be killed, I know they would not spare him.
And hence his loyalty to Jammeh.
He is loyal to himself and to the council.
But not to Jammeh.
No, not to Jammeh in person, despite the relationship there.
Wouldn't that be strange?
No, it's not strange.
Jammeh was head of the council.
Yeah, klar.
So how can he be loyal to the council and not be loyal to Jammeh?
It is not individual issue here. It is a collective issue here.
That's the way you see it.
And that's how it is.
But obviously this guy was a brother to Jammeh.
Right.
Blood is thicker than water. Or didn't that operate at the time?
No,
Oh, okay. All right. Good.
I don't operate like that when I'm walking.
Yes, you may not, but you cannot discount the fact that he would.
That's true.
Yeah. So Kanilai was to be arrested simply because it was believed that he would leak the plan.
I
Correct?
said he may be arrested. He could.
He may be
It could be.
arrested
It could be.
because they believe he would leak the plan.
Genau.
Okay, and then proceed.
And then when we attack the camp, we reorganize, check ourselves on the military operations. We have all these points. Then we went to the signal office. Personally, I was there. And then I think on duty on this particular day would be Ibrahima BI, if I fully remember. In fact, we found him sleeping, sort of. Or he was just dozing off from sleeping. And then I told him, give me the telephone, I call Jammeh. So I called Jammeh on the intercommunication line. I informed Jammeh that we are taking over the Yundum barracks. Everything was okay. And all of a sudden, a call came from Fajara barracks. And this was Benaminte. So I stood right behind Ibrahima BI. I told him, communicate normal. And then what Bina was saying you could hear, because this is from the TRC 577 radio. Is everything okay in Yundum barracks? Is Lieutenant Barrow there? He said, no, he's not yet there, but I believe he is coming. Index. Another call came from this airport, and this was one Lance Corporal Kebe. But here we have two Lance Corporal Kebes at the time in the military. Lance Corporal Kebe Alaji and Lance Corporal Kebe Amadou. But at this particular point in time, I could not identify exactly who among these two was being talked about. But it was like Lance Corporal Kebe was talking from the airport. He also was asking the same situation if Lieutenant Barrow was in the camp. I told Ibrahim BI, communicate normal. And then he told him, no, he's not here, but maybe very soon.
What happened after that?
After that, we took Ibrahim BI out. We kept him in the cells, I believe, if I could fully remember. And then we went to the guard room. At the guard room, we ambushed. We laid low. Since we now know Lieutenant Barrow is coming, we laid ambush for him. When he came, he was arrested.
And can you describe the situation when he was arrested?
The arresting team was at Peter Singate team arrested him, but I was not there at the right room end. And this was far from in front where the medical house is or was at the time. This is where he was arrested and brought to the guard room.
And how was he brought to the guard room?
He was beaten.
Seriously?
Of course.
By who?
By our guards.
Under your instructions?
Instruction. If you would term it like that, yes. But here we are dealing with an enemy.
But you know, command responsibility is either, well, criminal responsibility would be twofold. The individual criminal responsibility and command responsibility. And for command responsibility, you either have to prevent it from happening, or you punish. You fail to punish. At the end of the day, you would be responsible for either. So in your particular situation, even if you did not order it, you have the responsibility to prevent it. If you fail to prevent it, you have the responsibility to punish. So you did neither, so you should be responsible for their actions. Do you agree with that?
100%.
Good. So your guards beat Barrow up mercilessly. And what happened to him after that?
Then in his map pocket, we found a booklet there. We call it notebook.
Tell us what information was
In
contained
this
there.
notebook were the names of the council members and also the army commander, that is Babkar Jata.
Written in different ink.
I cannot remember exactly how it is, but Babkar Jata's name, certainly I can remember, came last, down at the bottom.
And what other information was contained there?
Information contained in this book was that each of the council members were to be arrested. They have
Go ahead, go ahead.
They had assigned guards or their team members, squads, to get us arrested, driven to the Brikama firing range, and be shot at point blank range. And at the Brikama firing range, the death squad commander was one Sergeant Sori Jadama, seconded by Lance Corporal Lamin Bojang, commonly called Lamin Gundo or Right Marker. He was a driver.
And do you know who was to arrest who?
If I get back to my notes...
Perhaps, yes. Let me reframe the question. Let's first talk about who was involved in the coup.
Okay.
Yes, tell us, please.
At this particular point, we only knew Barrow, Dotfal, who were arrested, and shortly after Barrow came in, got arrested, Elef Jame also came in. Lieutenant Elef Jame, Lamin Jame. So when he came in, the moment he took the Ben to the Union Barracks, opposite the medical store where it was near Nari, he saw Peter and his team, and he opened fire.
Peter who?
Peter Singate.
So Peter Singate was an other officer who joined your group, but he was not a council member.
You know, this point I remember he was part of it.
Okay, proceed, please.
Then when he opened fire on Peter's team, they responded. And I heard later that he took a hit on his arm, which was confirmed later when he was to be arrested after the Katong attack. Then he ran. They followed him in hot pursuit, but by chance, a vehicle came in between. He had already crossed the Brikama Banyan highway towards the airport fence. Then they stopped, and he jumped the fence and escaped. They came back and reported it was Elef Jame. They brought his weapon.
But do you know how Dotfal was captured?
Yes, Dotfal came with Lieutenant Barrow, if I could fully remember.
Or he came with Elef?
It's possible.
Yeah.
I can't remember exactly how, but I think they were arrested almost within the same period.
Yes, but he came with Elef Jame and Jaju and Dabo.
That could be possible.
All right. So kindly tell us how, from what you remember, how he was arrested.
When the vehicle stopped, they were arrested.
And what happened to those who were arrested?
They were taken into the guard room cells.
Beaten?
Of course.
So the beating was part of the modus operandi, pretty much.
This was an issue. This was a moment where we were completely angry. Personally, I was disappointed when they put our name down for execution, and this changed the situation totally, completely in our minds.
Did it in fact change the situation? Already you had a plan, a common plan, to have these people killed.
That is the situation in a battle. As I said, here right was not what is important, but victory. And here is an issue of life and death. And either you shoot and kill, or you are killed.
My purpose is just to understand the mindset.
Okay.
And to bring out the facts. I have to bring out the facts.
Okay.
Yes. So these guys were beaten. What happened to their uniforms or to the clothes they were wearing?
Their jackets were removed, and they are put in the cells.
How about pants?
Some were in their pants, some were in their military uniform.
Were they stripped of their clothing?
Underpants? No.
Not necessarily. No, not underpants, but pants.
Of course, some of them, yes.
And beaten.
And beaten, of course.
And then what happened to them after that?
We got them into a truck. We went to Fajar Barracks. We put them at mile 2.
You sent them at mile 2,
Exactly.
and then you proceeded to Fajara Barracks.
Because we heard it on the radio, Binaminte was at Fajara Barracks, so then we knew Fajara Barracks was also involved.
Okay. So now let's talk about the beating. Do you accept that you, Sana Bairo Savali, and all the council members and Peter Singate who are responsible for the beating of these soldiers who were arrested?
Yes. I was responsible, I was the commander on the ground.
And your council members too?
They are all under my command.
They also have responsibility?
Collectively, yes. Individually, I am.
No, individually, yes. Collectively, yes.
Correct.
Good. So now, these people have been arrested, they've been beaten, and now you take them to mile 2.
Yes.
Before you left, where was the army commander?
Good. The army commander was at his home at this point in time. But when I found out in the book that his name was involved, and here I think I can fully remember who was to go and arrest him. This was Sergeant Diouf, Alaji Diouf team was to go and arrest him, if I have it correct.
How about Basiru Kamara?
Basiru, here we have to understand, Basiru was the driver, official driver, attached to Babukar Jata, the army commander. But on this particular night, he drove Lieutenant Barrow inside Yundum Barracks.
Yes, but wasn't he to participate in the arresting?
He was also arrested.
Okay, let me just refer back to your statement because you don't have it in front of you.
Okay.
So I will read it out for you to confirm.
Okay.
The arrest you had Second Lieutenant Jibril Sey and Bakari Mane and Alaji Diouf. Sorry. Just a moment. Okay. To Second Lieutenant L.F. Jame, Sori Jadama, Lamin Bojang to arrest Vice Chairman Sanabairo Sabali.
Correct.
Family and guards, correct?
Correct.
And drive them to Birkama firing range for execution.
Correct.
Lieutenant Barrow, Second Lieutenant Abdullahi Fall, and Second Lieutenant Modulamin Dabo will arrest Chairman Jame, wife and closest bodyguards.
Correct.
Lieutenant Bineminte will arrest Sadibo Haidara, family and guards.
Correct.
Second Lieutenant Aliuba will arrest Captain Yankuba Ture, family and guards.
Correct.
Sergeant Alaji Diouf and Corporal Basiru Kamara will arrest GNA Commander Babukar Jata.
Correct.
Second Lieutenant Jibril Sey, Second Lieutenant Bakari Mane, and Second Lieutenant Lamin Jaju and Cadet Silla will arrest Captain Edward Singate,
Peter.
Captain Peter Singate, family and guards.
Correct.
Sori Jadama and Lance Corporal Lamin Bojang and team were to be sent at the firing range.
Correct.
So this was the plan
This was what we found in the book.
in the book.
Right.
As a result of that, what did you do?
We went to attack Fajara Barracks also. Okay, sorry, before I
Proceed,
go
please.
there. Before I get to Fajara Barracks. At this point in time, I called JCB Mendy and my driver Dembo Jibo, and I called Babukar Jata. I said to him, if you are not out of your house right now, in the next 2-3 minutes, an arresting team is coming, they will kill you. So come to the camp right now, I'm there with the council members.
And then what happened?
And they went for him and then he came.
And what happened afterwards?
Therefore, he was part of us, but I have not seen him with any weapons, to be quite honest. He was not armed. In fact, he came in mufti, if I can fully remember.
On that particular occasion, we have had Babukar Jata. On that morning, he did not come in mufti. And he also had a weapon.
Nay.
Well,
If
he said he came in uniform. JCB said he came in uniform.
No.
He had a weapon.
No.
You were talking about, perhaps maybe you mistaken, he did say that for the execution part, he came in mufti and he did not have a weapon.
Nay. You are talking about the same thing. The same day.
The same
night.
day, but at different periods.
Eh.
Okay. What do you say to the suggestion that you asked Babukar Jata to command the operations during your attack at Fajara Barracks?
Nay. Here,
What do you say to the suggestion that Babukar Jata commanded the operation that attacked Fajara Barracks?
here, in an operation, when bullets are firing left and right, at one point it becomes an individual issue. However, you are looking left and right, firing, overlapping and interlocking. These are military terms I'm using. Everybody has an arc of advance. If he says he was in control of his particular area where he was, 100% correct.
Who was in charge of the operation?
I was the commander there.
Did you delegate your responsibilities to Babukar Jata?
No.
When he said that he was the commander of the operation, was he lying or was he truthful?
That's what I'm saying. If I say he's lying, I would be wrong, I would be mistaken. But probably the area he was in control of, or the act he was control of, he was in charge.
We would come back to that.
Okay.
Tell us what happened very quickly.
Okay.
In fact, I should lead on this.
Okay.
You attacked Fajara Barracks and you took over the barracks.
Correct.
You ordered that those captured soldiers who were sent to Mile 2 be brought to Fajara Barracks.
Correct.
At Fajara Barracks, they were paraded.
Correct.
Tell us what happened when they were paraded.
We removed the head of the snake and the body was useless. This is a military term.
You executed the head of the snake.
Completely.
Can you tell us how that happened?
I stood the soldiers and told them, we have to kill Barrow and Dotfall. They were the ringleaders. Here we were concerned only for the ringleaders at this particular point in time.
So they were secluded.
Yes.
And then what happened?
We shot them. And I personally, I initiated the shooting.
And it was not just you who shot. Members of your team shot.
Could be.
Not could be. They did shoot.
Here I would say, if all of us have fired, there would have been a lot of casualties. None of them could have come out alive.
Mr. Sabali,
Yeah.
you are under oath.
Okay.
And I respect the candor through which you have, the candor which you have displayed throughout. So let's just stick to that. These two were secluded from the group.
Nay, they were all together.
But you just said a minute ago that you said Barrow and Fall were to be killed.
Exactly.
You did not say that the rest were to be killed.
Nay.
So Barrow and Fall were secluded from the group.
Seclusion here, if I understand you, means that they were taken aside.
Yes. We've had Mafuji Sonko.
Hey.
He said that Fall and Barrow were put aside.
No, that is totally false. Totally false.
So how? So your suggestion is they were in a group standing.
Exactly.
And you said that Fall and Barrow were to be killed.
Correct.
And then you opened fire at them.
Correct.
How would the bullets select who is Fall and who is Barrow?
But I already told them Barrow and Fall, and all of us there knew who these people were, who these officers were.
But what I'm trying to drive at is,
Right.
at that point, when you gave the order, you said these two should be killed.
Correct.
You did not say that all the others should be killed.
Correct.
So therefore, the attack, the fire should be directed at these two, correct?
Correct.
And indeed, these two were killed.
Correct.
And those were the only two who were killed there.
Correct.
So it therefore meant that there was deliberate targeting of these two individuals.
They were the ringleaders.
I agree. There was deliberate targeting of these two people. And only these two people were executed, correct?
Correct.
They could not have been within the crowd when they were being shot at.
They were in the crowd. We locked them up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But then the line of fire was directed just at these two people.
Of course.
Okay, so therefore, you and your group targeted only these two people.
Correct.
So therefore, not only you shot, Those you also fired, but directing their fire just at these two people.
Correct.
So you and your colleagues and your orderlies are all responsible for the deaths of those two individuals.
I am responsible, lead counsel. I was the command on the ground, and I gave the orders.
Yes, I accept your own responsibility. Now let's talk about the responsibility of the other participants.
Okay.
They too, your council members, were also responsible.
Okay.
No. Answer the question, yes or no.
Here is a collective action.
Good. So collectively, you are all responsible for the deaths of those two individuals at that time.
I don't call them individuals, I call them enemies.
Okay, call them enemies, call them soldiers, call them traitors, call them whatever. But these captured soldiers were killed. You and your council members and their orderlies participated in the killing.
Completely correct.
And all of you are individually and collectively responsible for their deaths.
Correct.
Now, what happened to the others who were not killed immediately?
At this particular point in time, Aliuba, if I could fully remember, and Lamin Jaju ran away, and here I think Babukan Njai, with I think Tumbul Tamba, if I recall correctly, went in hot pursuit of them, but they could not get them.
What do you say to the suggestion that when they were being shot, Babukar Jatta had gone to sort out issues of ammunition?
I wouldn't have been too much observant on that point.
So you would not know whether that is true or not?
Nay, but I know that he was there, but to my knowledge, he was not armed, unless if it's possible, if he stands and say he was armed with his pistol, yes. But
That is what he said. But we would come back to that, the
Okay.
issue of his role, because it's important that we get to the truth about what has happened.
Okay.
There have been lots of allegations, and we need to be able to sort out the wheat from the chaff.
Staff, okay.
All right. Okay. So after Yundum Barrack, after Fajara Barracks, when these people were shot, in fact, before their killing, did you have communications with Jammeh?
It's getting, of course.
And what was the communication about?
Communication was that we have attacked Yundum Barracks and Fajar Barracks respectively, and we have apprehended Lieutenant Barrow Fall and some officers and NCOs and soldiers
And what were you to do with them?
to kill the ringleaders.
Jammeh was in agreement with that.
Of course,
Good.
100% correct.
So these people were killed. What happened to the rest of that group?
The rest of the group, when we came back the next day, we got the ringleaders. We dealing with the names in the book. We took them to the Brikama range, not exactly at the Brikama range, but to the forest, and we shot them, and we brought them back to Yundum Barracks for burial.
So who was involved in that?
Those shot or those who were with me?
Those who participated in the execution.
These were my guards, myself, Edward Singate, I think Peter Singate also there, Yankubo Ture, Sadibu Hydra, and our guards.
So all council members and their guards.
Correct, and I think here, Alaji Kanyi, he was a couple at time, or a sergeant, I can't remember exactly what, he was also part of it.
Babukar Jatta was present.
Babukar Jatta was present not by virtue of him taking part in it as a fighting force, but as I said, I call him to secure his life.
But the execution was present at the range.
He was present, I think.
Okay. And you council members and your guards executed those who were captured.
Correct.
And you know that that was wrong, it was unlawful.
At that particular point, no.
But you were an officer.
Yeah.
You knew the Geneva Conventions and the additional protocols.
I knew. But on this
And
particular...
you knew that it was unlawful to execute captured soldiers.
It was wrong under the Geneva Convention.
And wrong means unlawful.
Unlawful, yes. Correct.
And you took law in your own hands.
Here, as I said, taking the law in our own hands was because they had the same aim and ambition or intention against us.
That may very well be the case, but that does not change the fact that what you did was unlawful.
You are right. Correct.
And you violated the laws of this country.
You're right, correct.
You committed murder.
Correct.
You executed 6 Gambian soldiers in the most gruesome manner.
Correct.
All of you council members are guilty of that murder.
Correct.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I would leave it at that, and tomorrow we would continue.
Thank you very much, Council, and thank you, Mr. Sabali. Mr. Sabali,
Please.
was a bit shocked and bewildered to hear you say that pensions are nothing. It's a bit surprising that a commentary like that would come from my own country here and from a platform of TRRC. I think that compromises, to a certain extent, in my view, the integrity of the work that we are doing here. The Geneva Conventions, the rules of war, or rules of armed conflict, took a century or more to develop. The 1899 and the 1907, the Hague Rules, they didn't abolish war. The UN Charter coming subsequently didn't. If you couldn't abolish war, you try to regulate it. The 4 conventions of 1949 did exactly that. Put these all together. First convention, armed conflict on land. Second convention, armed conflict at sea. The third one, which I think you were alluding to, prisoners of war.
Okay.
And then the fourth one, civilians, protection of civilians.
Correct.
To hear from my own country and this platform that that's irrelevant, as I said, shocked me, to say the least. I spent a bit of time, 20, 30 years, going around the world lecturing these conventions and the rules of war, law schools, military academies, Sandhurst and the U.S. Army War College in Carlisle, Pennsylvania, with 300-400 generals, 3-4 weeks with them.
Okay.
The Red Cross got 5 experts to go in. I was one of the 5. That a whole week, 2 weeks, sorry, to draft regulations pursuant to the protocols that the Council referred to. I hope and pray that people who are proceedings would not go away with this thing, that small countries like mine that really need this kind of law for protection are the ones who are, their soldiers come in and just brush this aside and say they're irrelevant. They are not. The Geneva Convention is irrelevant. I'm sorry I'm a bit personal about it, because if I spend my time dealing with this, going around, and then to come in here in my own country, that these things are zero, they're nothing. Of course they are something. Council members, if you have any questions, or maybe you want to respond to this.
I want to say something. Okay, the statement, literally, I don't mean it that way, but metaphorically what I wanted to say is that in times of war, these conventions are not respected because it is a situation of life and death. Of course, I know they are respected all over the world, but in the real situation when it is war, in the battle, when bullets are being fired, I don't think anywhere in this world militaries obey these Geneva Conventions. We have seen the examples, Americans, how they're handling Afghanistan. We have seen how they handle everywhere in the world. This is what I exactly wanted to put across. It's unfortunate, but that's how it is.
Well, you and I are not here about this, but there are consequences for not doing that.
Of course.
You have seen what happened at the end of the war, the Nuremberg trials, rules that were violated. Anyway, I don't think we can pursue it here.
I agree.
But I don't want it to come from here, that the TRRC, a forum where Gambians might just brush aside these Geneva Conventions and the rules of war.
I'm sorry if I meant it in a different form.
Thank you, no problem. Any question? Bishop, you have the floor, please.
Chairman, it's not a question as such, but just to make a little bit what we have just shared about this Geneva Convention, and the witness spoke about they were in a war situation. But I do not believe that you were in a war situation at that moment in time. You had information that there are people who were getting ready to counter-coup, to attack. Based on that information, you went to, barracks to make sure that that did not happen. And as a matter of fact there, when those who were actually the co-plotters, when they came, you arrested them. So that was not a war situation. A war situation would be where the other party has guns and you have guns, and then you begin to shoot at each other. So this actually was not a war situation.
Mr. Chair, on that particular issue, I think the witness did say that those who were apprehended were taken to a firing range and were executed. Was that your testimony?
Not all of them, I meant only the ringleaders.
The ringleaders, yes, were apprehended, hands were tied, taken to the firing range and executed. And executed is the word you used. So this was not in fighting situation. They were already hors combat. They were already out of fighting. They ought to have been treated as civilians who have been captured, but they were executed. So it was not a war situation.
I totally disagree, lead counsel. It was a situation where we come to know they have broken into the arms and armories, they took live ammunition, and they were ready to come to us. We applied in this situation, if I would bring it in, not exactly, but we went there to talk to them, and this was a conflict resolution.
I perfectly understand what you say, but you would agree that these were prisoners of war.
Yes.
And prisoners of war have to be treated humanely, correct?
Correct.
They have to be treated all civilians.
I don't agree that.
You may not agree,
in this
but you accept that prisoners of war, they have rights.
Yes.
They have to be taken before a court of law and tried.
Correct.
But you chose not to do that.
The ringleaders, on the ringleaders, yeah, the
Yes.
court-martial.
Yes, you chose not to do that for the ringleaders.
Yes.
It's not because you did not know the law. You knew the law was to actually take them to court.
Yes.
But you chose to execute them.
Yes.
That was murder.
No, situation not. We are dealing with our enemies.
But this was murder.
We can call it that.
Thank you very much. I will call it that.
Okay.
Mr. Sabali, what exactly were the orders given by Jammeh concerning those individuals that he said these are ringleaders killed? We heard that in previous testimony here, and I wasn't too sure. You mentioned only maybe 2 or 3 from that. I thought it was a very clear phrase from one of the witnesses here that Jammeh said, kill them all, the ringleaders,
Okay.
end quote. Was that what he said? Or
In my communication with him, yes. But as far as I was the commander on the ground, I took the responsibility of all what had happened.
well, that doesn't absolve him. If he says, kill them all the ringleaders. And that was a clear and firm also that you received them from him. Is that
Yes.
correct?
Correct.
Okay. Thank you very much. There are no further questions. We would resume our proceedings tomorrow at 10 o'clock. And I believe with the same witness. Is that correct? We have you for tomorrow.
Yes,
Mr.
Mr.
Chair.
Chair. Mr. Sabali.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you very much,
indeed.
Mr. Sabali, for your
Thank you very much, lead
Meeting is
counsel.
adjourned. Thank you. Meeting is adjourned. welcome to this morning's summer proceedings. But before we continue, may I ask our religious leaders to offer prayers. Imam C, you have the floor.
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين وإن تستفتحوا فقد جاءكم الفتح نصر من الله وفتح قريب وبشر المؤمنين بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل هو الله أحد الله أحد ولم يولد ولم يكن له كفوا أحد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الفلق من شر ما خلق ومن شر غاسق إذا وقب ومن شر النفاثات في العقد ومن شر حاسد إذا حسد بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل أعوذ برب الناس ملك الناس إله الناس من شر وسواس الخناس الذي يوسوس في صدور الناس من الجنة والناس إن ملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما وصحبه وسلم تسليما سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين.
Thank you, Imam C. Bishop, you please.
Thank you, Chairman. Lord God of all creation, creator of heaven and earth, creator of all human beings, the one who have called each and every one, we call upon your most holy name this morning hour. And we ask that you look kindly upon us, this nation, the Gambia, as we sit in this TRRC, as we seek to bring out the truth, and we seek by your goodness and your mercy and your grace to bring about reconciliation, to bring about healing, to bring about reparation. The Lord you will direct, that all who will testify here will the truth, and nothing else but the truth. So that, Lord, the healing process